Hi, everyone. I'm Trisha Clements with YourBizWatchdog.com. Welcome to the Atlanta SEO for local businesses. We're a local meetup here in Atlanta, but obviously since COVID, we are online. We have not gotten to a point where we're in person. That may happen at some point in the future, but we'll see. Again, I'm Trisha Clements. I'm one of the co-organizers, and Andy Simpson is here as well. He is one of our co-organizers too. So I'm going to go ahead and just get into it. And while I go through things, you can, yes, Andy has, leave your questions in the chat and I'll get to all of them at the bottom at the end of everything. We'll definitely have time for questions, Q&A. So don't hesitate to just write those questions in and we'll get to everything at the end. All right, I'm recording and let me share my screen. Okay. Can you see my screen? It says participants can see the screen. Can you put in the chat, Andy, make sure you can see my screen? Yes, all good. Okay, perfect. All right. Okay. So what I'm talking about today are the new FTC guidelines and how they impact your business. And this is something, let me go ahead. Again, I'm Trisha Clements with Your Biz Watchdog, and I'm not sure why. Okay. Whew. I hit enter and it didn't go to the next slide. Here's what we're going to be discussing. So first off is why the FTC cares about reviews on your website. That's a question that a lot of people have been asking me. They don't understand. So we're going to go over that a bit. What happened that kind of brought this up? Because this is something that we really have started hearing a lot about in the last, let's say, couple of months has really been talked about a lot. Also, what you need to know for your business, or also if you're an agency, what you need to know for your agency. And then what's in store for us in the future. So before I get into this, I want to say that this is just information I've gathered online. It is not legal advice. When you're going through and looking at your website, if you've got questions, you need to contact an attorney for legal advice. Also, please don't shoot the messenger. Y'all, I know that a lot of people are frustrated with this, and I'm just relaying the information. So please be aware of that. Okay, so the first thing is, why does the FTC care about what you've got on your website when it comes to reviews? The FTC's mission is to protect consumers and promote competition. I'm going to have a link at the end to all these slides. So anything that I have a link to, you're going to get, it's going to go directly to that. So don't worry about getting any links right now. Andy can put the link to the slides in, but that'll be available for you, so you don't have to worry about getting any links. But there's the Consumer Review Fairness Act, and that basically is what gives the commission the authority to do all of this. The FTC, their whole thing is protecting America's consumers. And when I was doing this, I remembered, I was like, wow, back in college a couple of years ago, I had a class, and I don't remember the name of it, but it was something on consumerism. And we talked a lot about the FTC. And then all of a sudden, I was just remembering all that stuff way back when, back in college. So what happened? That in January, actually, the end of January, you can see the FTC has on their website where the Fashion Nova, a business, is going to paying $4.2 million as a part of a settlement because the FTC alleged that it blocked negative reviews of products on its own website. So basically what they're saying is when Fashion Nova had products or services, either one, on their website, they simply cherry-picked the good reviews to show and blocked out the negative reviews from its own website. So that's the main thing that you need to know. This is not just talking about what you're posting somewhere else. This is also what you as a business have on your website. So what exactly was this business doing? Review gating. So I've talked a lot about review gating in the past, but I've kind of talked about it when we're looking at gathering reviews. Review gating, I'm not sure if I said that right. Review gating is what they were doing. We talk about that when you're gathering reviews. This is also when you're moderating and publishing reviews on your website. So the first one, gathering reviews, you're not allowed to review gate, meaning you ask somebody if they liked your product or service. They said it was good, leave a review. They said not so good, and you don't give them the opportunity to leave a review. That's review gating when you are collecting and gathering reviews. Review gating that this business was doing was they were suppressing reviews on their website. Basically, they were showing all these reviews from different places. I don't know where this company was showing the reviews, but it could be places like Google, Amazon, Facebook, any place that you're getting reviews, and you're saying, okay, show all the 4- and 5-star reviews, but don't show anything below a 4-star review. That's what it means. They're blocking any negative reviews from products being posted on its own website. So that's this type of review gating that they were doing. And it's not something, this is something that's relatively new as far as posting it on your own website. That's come up because this hasn't really been something talked about in the past. The review gating before was when they were talking about reviews, getting reviews. This is posting, publishing, and moderating them on your website. So this is what the FTC said. And they had a statement, and they said they're deceptive review practices. They cheat customers, undercut honest businesses, and pollute online commerce. And they said Fashion Nova is being held accountable for these practices. Other firms should take note. Okay, so they're saying this is not the end of this. Other firms should take note. So they're saying we need to wake up and really pay attention to what's going on. And the main thing that I can say about it, as far as, you know, businesses saying, well, this is my own website. Why exactly why do I need to worry about what I put on my website? And the FTC says, you know, it's cheating consumers and undercutting honest businesses. So the main thing is do honest business, do ethical business, and you're going to be fine. Everyone occasionally will get a bad review, whether, who knows why, but the main thing is if you do good business, you're going to, on the most part, get positive reviews. The FTC wants to make sure that all reviews are treated equally, both positive and negative. So that's the main thing. They don't want you to go in and look at negative and positive reviews when you're adding them to your own website and review gating them, basically putting positive on and not putting the negative ones on there. They have guidelines, and again, this is in my slides that you're going to get a link to. I think Andy's posted that. But soliciting and paying for online reviews, a guide for marketers, and a guide for platforms. So they've got full PDF for you all to look at on both of these. So if you're a business and you're wondering, you know, what they're talking about, marketers. So this is marketing firms, SEO firms, any kind of online marketer that helps businesses. So they've got a guide for you all, and then online review platforms. So these are platforms, basically any type of platform that helps you gather the reviews. There are a lot of different platforms out there that you input your customer information. It contacts your customer via email, text, whatever, asking for reviews. Then they have widgets that they'll put the reviews on your website. So the FTC is not just looking at the business. They're looking at who the business is working with, the SEOs, the marketers. They're looking at the platforms that they're using to put these reviews on their site. So these are PDFs that the FTC did, and they're pretty good short little guides that you can look at those. And I've got those PDFs for you when you get these slides. You can just take a look at those yourself. So these guidelines for the platform and marketers, I want to just kind of briefly go over a couple things. They talk about how you should be collecting and publishing reviews. Again, no review gating. We just talked about that. Positive and negative need to be treated equally. Incentive and connections between businesses and reviewers need to be explicitly disclosed. So if you are going to give someone something for the review, whether it is monetary or non-monetary, it needs to be explicitly disclosed. This is the FTC. Now, there are platforms that do not allow incentives. For example, Google. Google does not allow incentives. So definitely, if you're getting Google reviews, do not ask do not give out incentives for reviews, whether it's monetary or otherwise. FTC says that if you do, they have to be explicitly disclosed. So the whole thing is really about transparency, accurately reflecting the experience that your customers are having. And the other thing is, and this is something I think they talked about, but one thing that some businesses I've seen do, and it hurts a lot of good businesses, is when there are people out there who will actually sell reviews. This is bad. This has always been bad, and it's bad for good businesses. It's bad for everyone. They are either buying positive reviews for themselves, or they're buying negative reviews for their other competition, which can really hurt their competition. And who wants to deal with that? So those are things that have always been explicitly do not do. And it's kind of, that one to me, that one's kind of no-brainer, that that's always been the case. Do not pay for reviews that are not honest and accurate reviews. They need to reflect the experience of your actual customers. Okay, so let's talk about your business. So again, I said that this was about businesses, agencies, and review platforms. So if you're a business and you have someone create your website and you tell them, we'll use the review platform and get this widget here, and then they're doing things and creating your website, the FTC is saying the business is liable, the agency that worked on it, your marketing agency is liable, and the review platform is, okay? So the business can't just say, I paid so-and-so to do this and I don't know anything about it. The FTC says it's your business and you need to know, and you should know, and you're going to be held accountable. So just because you hired somebody that violated FTC guidelines does not take you off the hook. You are liable for that. So you need to be aware of these guidelines and making sure that you are basically abiding by them. So that's one thing too. A lot of people think businesses will say, well, I don't know much about that, I'm just going to have somebody do it for me. The FTC says you need to know what they're doing. So if you go in, you've got somebody working on it, and all you get is 1,000 5-star reviews, and that's all you ever get, you know that probably something is going wrong. You might get a 4-star here and there, and you probably will have a negative review just because you've been in business for a while. So that is definitely something that that you need to be aware of. Okay, publishing reviews on your website. So like I said before, do not review gate on your website and only show positive reviews. This comes up a lot in like review widgets. So you've got the review widget on your website that may pop up at the bottom or on a specific page, and it directly pulls from whatever platform, Google, Facebook, wherever you're pulling this from. Some platforms have something that basically will allow them to only show 4 and 5-star reviews, or you pick, you might only show 5-star reviews. FTC says this is not allowed. So you need to know what that review widget is set to. Some of those, some review platforms are going in and changing things and making sure that you cannot do that with their platform. Some are not. So you just need to be aware and make sure that you know what is on your website and what's showing. Also, there's the question of, I know some people, they might not use review widgets, they might use text or an image of reviews. And basically, this is one that it's difficult for businesses, because they say, well, I'm not going to go put text on my website of a negative review. But the FTC says that they want a true representation. So if you have, if there's a business with a 2.5 and all they show is positive reviews, that's not a true representation of their customers. And the FTC that says that would be a violation. So definitely look at what you're doing with reviews like that on your website. And I know when you're doing things like that, it can kind of be a little bit of a gray area looking at them and deciding, well, is this what they meant? And it's hard to determine that. I would just say you need to make sure you're having a true representation of what your reviews of your reviews and how they represent your customers. So moderating reviews. So moderating is basically it's different than going on and deciding the review star rating or whatever. A lot of different things like Google, they'll have things saying you can't display reviews that have specific content in them. And so the FTC is saying the same thing. They're not expecting you to display something on your website that's, unlawful, harassing, abusive, all these different things, inappropriate content. So these are things, and I've got links that will show you directly where it says that. And so basically, there's a list of things. If there's something in there obscene, vulgar, abusive, whatever, you're not required to post that review on your website. But you need to be sure how you're going to moderate. So this is considered moderating your reviews. You can't moderate a review because it's a negative review. You can moderate a review if it has something that's inappropriate, abusive, obscene, all of these different things that the FTC says, we're not going to require you to add these, display these on your site. But what you need on your website is a review terms of service. So this is something new that you need to add to your websites. Basically, this is saying when you're moderating your reviews, so if you're going to have that review widget on your website and you're going to go through and look and see. So if somebody says something that is harassive and abusive, you're going to say, no, I'm not going to show that on my website. You need to have clearly in your terms of service on your website that you're excluding those. So basically, it's just one more thing you need to make sure that you add to your website when you moderate your reviews for your website. And they need to they specifically state how these reviews are removed. You can't just say, well, we're going to remove them. You need to have individual things for each one. I've got one on my website that I just added, and I'll share a link to that at the end. I just added that, so it's actually in my footer for my website, so you can take a look at that later. And then your criteria needs to be applied uniformly. You can't just willy-nilly cherry pick things and say, well, I'm going to include this and I'm not going to include that. They have to have the exact same criteria for that. The next thing is, so you're thinking, okay, so I'm a small business, how's the FTC know what I'm doing? Am I really at risk for any of this? So I'd say definitely create a terms of service if you're putting reviews on your site and moderating them. But for small businesses, the risk may not be that high. However, it always depends on things that you're doing and what are those different things. So I'm going to talk about, we've talked about two things. If you're review gating, it can increase your risk. If you're suppressing negative reviews, it can increase your risk. The next thing I want to talk about is your review platform, and the FTC did send some letters out, so I want to talk a little bit about that. But those four things, basically, if you're review gating or suppressing negative reviews, look at the platform you're using for your reviews, getting reviews if you're using one. And if you get a letter from the FTC, basically, these things mean that you could be under the microscope and can increase your risk. The other thing is how you do business. If you've got a client that you maybe had a disagreement with and they know that you were doing anything that you weren't supposed to, they can always report this. So those are things you just need to be aware of. So the first thing is the platform. I talked about your review platform. Those are things that you sign up for and you give them your client's information, and then they send them emails, texts, whatever it is to get those reviews. And then they typically will give you a review widget to add those reviews to your website. So the FTC sent warning letters to 10 review platforms. The link there has all 10 of them, but a couple of them I did recognize. And if you're using one of these platforms, it could be an increased risk of having the FTC look at things. It doesn't necessarily mean you're in trouble, because the FTC just sent a warning letter saying, we looked at your site, we don't like what you're doing, fix this. Some of them were reputation.com. I recognize that one. Signpost. I'm pretty sure I saw something for there, someone was asking about that to me looked like review gating. Grade Us. Those are 3 of them. The others were ones I'm not familiar with, but they did send those 10 review letters out to those platforms and or warning letters. So if you're working with any of those, and again, has the link to them, you definitely need to make sure what your settings are and that you're not review gating or anything that you shouldn't be doing. The other thing is the FTC sent notices to over 700 businesses, and they basically put them on notice about fake reviews and other misleading endorsements. This was back in October, so this was even before the whole thing happened in February. So basically, they sent out these letters saying, look, there could be steep penalties, and just putting them on notice. And if you're wondering who all got some of these, so these are companies that are at higher risk. You probably know if you got one. I doubt any of y'all did, but just in case, you should know if you got one. But there's a list if you want to double check. I've got on here, the image here links out to it. Comcast is on there, shocking. Lyft, 800 Flowers, 3M, Apple. So those are some ones that were on the list that I saw that the FTC sent out notices to about fake reviews and misleading endorsements. So basically, the FTC gave them a warning, and I would certainly hope that they're doing something about it because they are under the microscope even more. The next thing that the FTC was talking about recently were incentivizing reviews. So they want you to be disclosed. If you incentivize reviews, it has to be your honest opinion. You can't say, I'll give you whatever, something free or something % off or anything else. If you say only for a positive review, it has to be their honest opinion, and you cannot just incentivize positive reviews. The other thing also keep in mind is some review sites do not allow incentivized or paid reviews. Google does not. I think on that, one of the main things is I think it's better just to not incentivize. If you've got somebody who's going to do a big testimonial case study and you're going to incentivize, that's a little bit different because it's not like a review on a place like that. You're probably doing it for your website. And then you would say on there, this is a paid, you definitely need to say this was a paid review that was given. Another thing is, this was back in 2019, and this is about incentivized reviews. So there was a health food subscription box company that was fined $100,000 for not disclosing incentivized reviews. So again, it's not new that the FTC is looking at reviews. It was just this $4.2 million one in January that really raised some eyebrows. So again, the FTC was saying, look, you're not disclosing these incentivized reviews, and they fined them $100,000. So the FTC is looking at this. The basic, again, the FTC says that these fake reviews, they cheat consumers and undercut honest businesses. So I know a lot of people are complaining that, well, why does the FTC again care about what's on my website? They shouldn't be looking at my website. Again, it's about consumer protection, and it does undercut honest businesses. So if you're doing good, honest work, you're going to have you're going to end up fine. Just make sure you don't want someone out there who is not doing good and honest work to undercut you by doing something like this. That's what the FTC is kind of going at to help consumers. The other thing is, no business is really, nobody's perfect. So you're not really looking for a 5-star review. Consumers, there was a study that said consumers trust businesses more with a 4.3 to 4.6 star rating. So having some negative reviews is not the end of the world. What counts is how you respond to those reviews professionally. Don't get down into the weeds with it, because when your response to the review is really about how you're another potential client looking at your business and how professional you are and how you handle it. So what do we expect in the future? So we've talked about all these terms of service, review gating, you know, how our reviews are looking and organized on our website. So what else is coming through the pipes? First off, who knows, you know, we'll throw a dart at the wall and see what happens. But I will say that from this, the FTC is definitely looking closer at reviews and how businesses handle them. You can see that from the letters they sent out to 700 businesses, from the letters they sent out to the review platforms. They went through, and those letters they sent were specific about things on their website. So they hadn't just sent letters, just pick some. They had gone through and looked at their websites, what they were promoting and saying that they were doing. So definitely, I see that's the future. They're going to continue to do that. The other thing I would say is it's probably not just the FTC that's going to look at this. So there are other professional licensing boards and organizations that will probably look at reviews. For example, you've got attorneys, the Bar Association. Attorneys are going to probably be under a lot more scrutiny from the bar because the bar is the one that handles their licenses. And I would say that they're going to look at it more. Organizations, all kinds of different things. You've got the Better Business Bureau, different things like that. Different organizations are going to be looking more at reviews, especially since this came out. So, and then businesses who are out there doing the right thing and may be hurt by these unethical businesses, they're really doing things wrong. They are complaining. There are different things on the news we've heard lately about businesses where they may have been attacked by negative reviews that weren't real. So those are things I think that this is really getting out there. People are more aware of what's going on with reviews when they're looking, especially since COVID, everything's online and you're looking at things and you're saying, okay, reviews, you're looking through and you're kind of evaluating whether to trust those reviews or not. So the main thing I can say is be proactive. Take a look at your whole review system for your business. Look at how you're handling the reviews, how you're getting them, how you're collecting them, how you're showing them on your website, how you're moderating them, and have your review terms of service on your website. So do good business, be honest, be transparent, and then be consistent. Don't go in and treat one review differently than another. The only thing is you just need to have that terms of service so that you can, when you want to moderate those reviews that the FTC says you're not required to have, you can take those out, but you do need to be consistent about that. Okay, so that is most all of my presentation, but I do want to have, you can schedule a 30-minute free video chat with me if you've got questions. It's videochatwithtrisha.com. We'll post that in the chat. And when we talk, it's a 30-minute free consultation. If you do sign up for something, I will give you my free review terms of service to use on your website. So let me see. Yes, there it is. So the slides, yourbizwatchdog.com/FTC, book a call with Trisha, videochatwithtrisha.com. And let me stop sharing my screen and I'm going to answer questions. You're going to ask, I'm going to answer. Okay. So Andy put a bunch of those in my videochatwithtrisha.com, yourbizwatchdog.com/FTC. Those are my slides. And questions. Andy, did you see some of the questions?
Yeah, no, so sorry for laughing. So no real questions. Okay. A couple of moans and going, oh, here we go, but no real direct questions from anyone.
Yes. Okay. So Beth says, here's another section to add your contract as a disclaimer, just like accessibility and privacy. Yeah, and I'll show you while I have. Let me see. Let me do another screen share. I had forgotten about this screen share. So here's my website. I added at the bottom my privacy, my cookie, review terms of service. And here's my review terms of service. So that's basically, you need to make sure that's one more thing to add to your website to make the FTC happy.
Yeah, Beth's not happy.
I know. Well, you're making the FTC happy. I know. Whoops.
And Sarah's posted a good question. how do you post Facebook reviews on your website?
So basically, you're going to use the same guidelines. There are, I believe there are probably review widgets that do the same thing. You may want to have, I don't have any that I actually post on my website from Facebook, but I believe there are different review widgets that you could use. But if you do decide to copy text or whatever, do all of them. Make sure you have a terms of sale if there's something that you don't include because of the different things the FTC says you don't have to do. But if you're just going to simply go in and type them yourself or do images, because I know a lot of people, that was one of my main questions was, well, a lot of people will do an image and put the image up, and that's very commonly done, on specific pages that are for a service or a product. They might pick one good review out and post it up there. Well, the FTC wants to see it to be an accurate representation of everything on there. So if you have like a 2.5 review and you have 2 5-star ratings, the FTC says that's not an accurate representation. So I'm not sure exactly how far they're going to go on that. I think that that's probably harder for them to really regulate and look at every single business. However, if you're using a review platform that got one of the 10 letters, or if you're in there violating different things, you may get in trouble also if a customer can report you. So, the main thing I would say is make sure that you have a review terms of service. So let's see.
I think the review gating is a big one.
Yeah.
You should check your platforms as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I think you'd be at the moment, it sounds like a lot. It's 700 or whatever it was, 800 firms have been reported. Mm-hmm. That's from many thousands of companies that are out. I think you'd be very unlucky at the moment to receive one of those letters in the mail. Yes.
Yeah. I agree. And on my slides, there's a link to that whole list of them. And it's I can't remember how many pages of them, but it's just over 700. I think it's 714 or 15 companies that got that.
And there's probably not many small businesses.
Exactly. That I would agree. Most of them,
going for the money.
I think I saw Home Depot, Lowe's, Chick-fil-A, all kinds of different things like that. I was like, whoa. So they're looking at these big companies' websites. And the one thing is to kind of learn from that, and they're looking at them now. And I would say that the one time that as a small business, your risk is probably a little bit lower unless you're using one of these platforms that has settings that allow you to review gate, or if you had a bad falling out with a client and they know that you were review gating or posted, or even have a bunch of positive reviews where they had a negative experience, they might say that you were review gating that on your site, and they may report you. And I was reading Beth's comment. She says, understand you shouldn't review gate, but the FTC wants to force you to post negative reviews on my own website, that it's overreach. So this has been the, I have heard that a lot, Beth. You're not the only one. And there is also, people say, well, a consumer beware that, if you're going to the website and you see the reviews, obviously you would then go someplace else to check them out. Sometimes you do, sometimes you forget. So this is the FTC who's protecting consumers. And so I can see it from the consumer standpoint, but then again, I see it from the business standpoint. So I would say if you're using a review, to use a review widget for those reviews and not to review gate, or don't have reviews on your site, just link and say, see my reviews, and they can go right to wherever, Google, Facebook, wherever. And that's one thing, Sarah, you were talking about reviews. You can do a link and say, check out my Facebook reviews over to Facebook. Check out my Google reviews, because that's what I did on my, at the end of my terms of sale, I said, check out my Google reviews, see all my Google reviews. So. I
was going to say on a client, a typical for me, attorneys, if I've got a car accident page, I'll put on a quoted positive review, but underneath that I says it's a Google review, and that wording where it says Google review by Mary or whoever will click through to all the reviews on Google My Business. There's no way I'm going to put a 2-star review among that content.
I agree with that. From what I've understood is that the FTC may not be happy if you include only one. And like, let's say you had an overall 4.0 and you had all 5-star reviews. The FTC might not be happy. Are they going to find out? Who knows? I don't know. Curtis, do you have any additional input on that? Let me see. Oh, hold on. We've got, yes.
Hey, sorry.
And I'll say, Curtis, I'll tell you, Curtis is here for Ask for Transparency. He helps fight negative reviews, not negative reviews, fake reviews. Sorry, fake reviews.
It's all right. Yeah. What was your question, Trisha?
I'm not sure what it was. We were talking about basically, because I had this question as well, Andy. So, you know, where people are putting like an image for a 5-star review and saying, click here to view all of our reviews. I mean, I think it's a gray area that my understanding is the FTC really wants you to have a, give the actual overall general experience on the site. So if you only show 5-star reviews, but you maybe have a 4.0 when you look at all of Google, they want you to include not just all 5-star on that text, whether it's text or an image, is my interpretation. Would you agree or no?
Well, yeah, I mean, they spell it out for us basically that you can't cherry pick your reviews on your site. You can't display only positives. You have to show everything out there. Otherwise, that's considered gating. You're gating that content in front of your customers, your leads, and people you may be doing business with. As much as we may not like it, you know, it's what the FTC's basically recommending. They generally go after really large organizations like Fashion Nova, right? Multi-million-dollar company. They find them $4.2 million. For small businesses, the FTC is really trying to give guidance, but that's where you're going to have other more local regulators like the Attorney General's office come in and start to pay attention to that advertising compliance. The FTC is really looking out for big organizations, and just like Fashion Nova try to make this big example. But if you think about it, negative reviews aren't necessarily so bad. They do, like, legitimate negative reviews do help set expectations with your company. It may not be, you know, the most glamorous, but it's real, and that's good. But happy to,
I would definitely, I think especially businesses that are doing like maybe an image or text like you were talking about, Andy, you know, I do think that is not in the spirit of what the FTC wants. Are they going to get caught? Who knows? The other thing is that I do think that, because I know that Andy works for what is your
digital law marketing?
Digital law marketing. I will say attorneys, they need to be on the lookout for what the state bar associations are going to look at this as well. So maybe it's not necessarily the FTC, but maybe they want to contact, well, I don't know if they want to poke the bear, but I think the bear may have already been poked with them. So they may want to see, as far as the their state bar association, if they have anything they've put out on reviews, because I think that's anyone that has any type of licensing like that. I would say, since the FTC has done this, they're going to be looking at it further, whether it's the state bar, the Attorney General, different other licensing boards. So if you've got clients that have licensing boards that oversee them, I would say definitely they want to see if anything has come out, if there's anything out about that. Let's see. So Beth has a question. What's the difference between a review and a testimonial? I'm not really the best person to answer that because it's kind of hard. A testimonial is more, I'm not sure if I'm getting the exact legal correct definition, but I kind of look at a review as something just short statement. Testimonial is more kind of more personal when they're, and longer when they're asking for it, but I'm not necessarily sure that that's exactly right. Sometimes people use them interchangeably. So only have.
I think because this is quite new, it'd be good. You know, people are going to do this well. So to see some good working examples of what people have done,
Yeah,
maybe in the next few months will be a good to share later.
Yeah, and I definitely would say the other thing is make sure who you're working with and setting these up. So like, is that they're not doing these review gating as far as in your widget. So you know, if you're working with somebody and they're going to allow it and say, well, we don't really care, it's your business, do what you want, I would say definitely don't work with them, because you're setting yourself up for trouble. Because like these the 10 review platforms that the FTC sent letters out to and told them to fix their stuff. If you're working with them and then they don't fix their stuff, I would say your business, because you're using that, will probably be under more scrutiny. You would have more of a red flag. Now, based on how many, who knows when they get to it, you just don't know. And again, small businesses, I think our risk is a lot lower than the large businesses, but you never know when someone might report it, and if you're not complying with everything. And I know Beth here is ranting. Yes, I know, Beth. I've been ranting again. Don't kill the messenger. I know. And that was why at the beginning I kind of went over like the whole purpose of the FTC, because it's protecting consumers, and a lot of this is, you know, when you see things on yeah, Beth says the FTC is not looking to protect. Okay, Beth. So I would say that I'm trying to think, Beth, you got me off track, just your 2 cents. Okay, I know. It's very frustrating, but a lot of people have come to me like, well, you know, my website's not their business. But when you look at it and you always see these, think about like TV ads. So before the internet, we were looking at TV ads only. A lot of it had you may have somebody giving like a testimonial at the end. It says this was a paid endorsement. So, you know, we kind of assume that, but then again, when you're there now, they want to make sure that reviews on your website are given kind of the same thing, that you know if there's anything paid, any incentives. If you they want to make sure you're not review gating, so they get basically really just kind of a fair representation of your clients and your customers. Okay. Okay, so Jeffrey says the review is a testimonial being written on first party. So that's what I was kind of thinking, but I wasn't completely sure. From a feedback form, review is written on a third party site as Google. So that's kind of what I was saying, but I wasn't sure if that was the technical, really what that meant. Leah says it sounds like older websites collected email blips and review, display them as text reviews, need to be revamped. Yeah, I would definitely say need to be revamped. If you've got a bunch of reviews, they're only 5-star and they're concerned about it, you definitely want to revamp them. See what you're doing. You know, that's the thing. You may have review sites and you may not even know that their settings are set to review gate and only show 4- and 5-star reviews. That may have been set so long ago. You're like, I don't know. Who knows? So definitely go in and check those settings. Make sure.
Go test your website. Go leave yourself a review, but obviously don't go that far. You actually do, but just see what the review widget does.
Yeah, well, these are, they're pulling a lot of them from Google. So if you wouldn't leave yourself a review there.
Well, no, what I'm saying is on the widget, you can click on, okay, I'm going to leave myself a 1-star review. And then you get, and if you don't get taken to Google, then you know you're getting gated.
Okay. Oh, yes. So that, And so that's the collection, because there's two different ways of review gating. That's collecting the reviews, review gating that way, or publishing the reviews, review gating that way, and not showing the other ones. Beth says, ask for forgiveness rather than permission. Is anyone going to take that approach? Well, I would say maybe if you ask Fashion Nova nowadays, they maybe wouldn't. 4.2 million. But again, they're a larger company. You know, a lot of us are smaller businesses. Who knows what we're going to see? But definitely be aware of it, and just be on the just be aware of it, and try to make sure that everything you're doing is on the up and up and honest on there for the reviews. Make sure you're doing you've got a terms of service, and that you're not review gating. Or incentives. That's another big one that some people still aren't aware of. Incentives. If you're giving incentives, you need to disclose it. Some platforms do not allow incentives. So, any more questions? And I'm sure this just came out in January, end of January. So we're still kind of early on. There's going to be more stuff coming out. I would just say, look at the news, see what happens. When things like this come out in the news, there's always things later on, things that come up, and you never know what's going to come up later. So you just need to be aware of all the new things coming out. So Beth said one of her favorite public plugins are incentivizing reviews. Yes. There are quite a few that I know that have incentivized reviews. And they, again, if it's depends on the platform, if they even allow it. If you're putting it on your own website, you definitely have to disclose it. So, okay. Is a contest an incentive? Yes. A contest, anything that you may or get any type of incentive from is definitely any type of money or anything of value is definitely incentive. So contests are considered incentives. Definitely don't do that. Google doesn't allow it, period. I would say any other ones you may want to do as far as contest incentives. If you're doing reviews, make sure that whatever platform you're sending it to allows it and it's disclosed. Something like that, I would advise against, because it's really too hard to tell. You don't want to have some contest and have all these incentivized reviews and not have it disclosed. Especially third-party sites. Most third-party sites do not allow you to. So keep that in mind as well. Okay. So, okay, great. Thank you all so much. Any other questions? So I do want to remind you that the second Wednesday of the month is our Atlanta SEO for local businesses meetup. We've got our Facebook meetup and YouTube. This will be posted on YouTube. If anyone wants to go back and look at it, try to get it up by Monday and see how that goes. All right, I don't think there are any other questions. We will see you all next month. And definitely once I put that up, if you have any further questions, put it in the Facebook group or on the YouTube channel, just let me know. We'll come in there and help. Thanks so much, everyone. Thank you, Andy.
No
Bye-bye.
problem. Take care.